blade shoved is off. Listen to it. So there's an issue with the motor. It also makes a knocking sound. So the motor won't stay running and it makes a knocking sound. Now I'm not sure, but I can tell you there's definitely something wrong with that motor. Okay? Definitely something wrong with that engine. I think that clutch assembly might be bad. Right there. I think what there may be is there may be some centrifugal, it's a centrifugal clutch inside of there. And what's happening is, it's not hitting every time. Right? So at low when the motor's at an idle and low RPM, this blade shouldn't turn. Okay? That's how clutches work. Clutches don't engage until they hit a certain RPM and then they engage. And that engages the blade and the blade moves. So I think that knocking sound just may be coming from that clutch assembly. Okay? I've already did a video. You can already hear the knocking. But 3 of us had to determine that that's what the problem is. Any technician, any engineer would know that. Okay? But as far as the motor concerned, you could tell it won't stay running, right? And I'm not exactly sure, without breaking the whole motor down, tearing it all apart, looking at everything, you know, but that's not how it should be. I shouldn't have ran this just for a few hours and cut a few boards and be having this issue. Now, do I think Mechmaxx is at fault? No, I don't. Now, it's under warranty for a year. I don't have a problem with that. You know, I know that working with a company, you know, generally they'll fix it. I don't like other mechanics fixing my stuff. I don't want to have to come out of my pocket to spend all kinds of money to have somebody else fix it when I am probably more educated in small engines, or as educated as they are. So it's not very hard to change the motor. Okay? That is not a difficult process for me. Okay? But I think there's definitely something wrong with that motor. Alright? And I'm going to change this motor. Because, let me take you into my shop. I have to do this video because I know that Mechmaxx is going to be watching it. Oh, Mechmaxx go-karts. Just want to show you so that you guys understand. Let me just show you how many I got. I got them all back there too. Oh, I'm building a brand new one right there. Isn't that amazing? As you can see, I have a full shop with all brand new tools. I got all kinds of stuff in here, right? Oh, it just so happens there's a brand new motor. Ain't that crazy? But wait, it's not the right size. So, let's come back here. These are brand new motors right here. There's a brand new Duramax 439cc. There's a 205cc. There's a 223 Wildcat race motor. Down there is a brand new 420. And right up there in that box is a brand new 420cc. Now you're saying, well, the motor on there is not a 420. That's correct. Well, is that going to make a difference? Well, these are going to have more torque, but they do it for price, right? That's why that motor is on there. It's about a price point, right? Because they're only going to run at a specific RPM, right? Because they have a governor. And both motors are governed at approximately the same RPM, okay? The only difference is this is a 270cc with a 1 inch, has a 1 inch, I'll show you. Right here. There's the shaft that comes out of here is a 1 inch shaft. How do I know that? Well, because I own Dakar Motors. Let me come over here. This, right here, if you want to see it, I'll take you right up here so you can see it. So you can see the tag, and you can cross-reference it. Okay? This is a 212cc kart racing engine. You know who that's made by? That part. Dakar. I've been dealing with Dakar Motors for a long time. Okay? They usually make good stuff. But I've had problems in the past. You know? That's what happens. Things break. Things blow up. It's nothing unusual. Okay? The reason why I'm telling you this is so that everybody doesn't freak out when this happens to you. Right? Is it disappointing? Sure. Did Mechmaxx take this out of the crate and pre-check it and check everything out before we got it? No. They're going on, whoever the manufacturer is of this machine in China, and then they warranty it because anything can happen, right? Anything. So the 420cc has a bigger displacement, but it'll run at the same RPM. If anything, there'll be less wear on the engine because it is bigger, okay, and it has more of a torque spec, which will make the blade and everything else bog less. There'll be less friction, okay? Now, of course, you got to still clean everything out, make sure that, you know, after a while you clean all of your surfaces, you clean your belts off, so that way you don't have slippage. The motor doesn't have anything to do with that. But I will need a new clutch. Absolutely. I will need a new clutch assembly because I'm going to put a new motor on it. I'll need a new clutch assembly, and I'll just need to be either sent another motor from Mechmaxx. They can send me a new motor because I do my own mechanics work because I don't trust anybody. And everybody's too expensive. So to save them some money, I just need them to send me a new motor, another blade replacement because this came off, went down in the blade and broke the blade, right? I'm telling you, it happens. I've never seen that happen before. That's kind of a fluke, right? So, you in a clutch, I gotta have a new 1-inch clutch because that's what that output shaft is, 1 inch, right? For this, and I'll be in business. That's what needs to happen. So I'm doing this video for you guys, but I'm also doing it for Mechmaxx technician. Why? Because it's important that they understand the whole package, right? I mean, anybody could say anything. But it's pretty obvious that these issues are at hand. Now, for a homeowner who doesn't have the mechanical experience that I have, the years of experience, both in the military, growing up on a farm, in my shop, building race carts, you know, fixing all of my automobiles. For those people, this could be a travesty to them if somebody doesn't make a video and let you aware of these things. But I'll say again, if it's under warranty, then Mechmaxx, right, said they'll take care of it, right? Well, that's fine. All I need you to do is send me a new clutch, send me a new motor, right, and one replacement blade because it messed it up. It's as simple as that. I'll get the stuff fixed, we'll be back on, and I'll make some more videos for you guys. But until then, it's a safety hazard. It really is. There's a lot of underlying issues. Now, people can say, well, this safety thing's put in place. How bad can it get? Well, I can tell you right now, if you're spinning that 3,400 RPMs, and that breaks off of there and comes out of there, anything can happen. Anything. Even though you have all of these guides and these little safety measures that are put in for your protection, don't think for a moment that it can't. Because here's the fact of the matter. This latch was broken from the beginning. This don't cause the motor to sound like that, right? These safety things, they're not working, right? And all it's supposed to be, according to the owner's manual, is plug and play. That's it, right? So, I don't know where the default is. Can you still shut the motor off? Yeah, here. But as far as having a safety button, you might as well just throw it in the trash, you know, until you figure out what the problem is. And once again, that's from the people who built it, not Mechmaxx. But they realize that these things can and will happen, right? So be aware of that. That's what's important. So if you buy one of these machines, which when it was running great. I didn't have any issues with it. Okay? But when it's not running, it's not making anybody any money, right? It's not helping anybody to fix anything, right? So if you're a farmer and you're trying to mill some boards to fix some fences on your property, right? Well, keep your cows in because they're all broken. It's not helping you any, right? If you're a guy trying to make a few extra bucks because times are hard and everything's expensive and prices are going up, because the rich don't understand it from us little people, right? They don't care. It's going to hurt you. That's what's going to happen. Because there's going to be less food on the table. If this is how you're going to make money. Because some people buy them to do that, right? That's their dream. Well, maybe some people have waited many years to buy one. They finally buy one and then they get the disappointment that it isn't working. But you got to understand, this is a new machine. These things should not be happening to a brand new machine, okay? And I think what Mechmaxx needs to do is make sure that each one of these units is going over properly before they ship it out. And have somebody, you know, an outsider, to look over these. Now look, I'm going to say something. People can agree or disagree, okay? Some of the things in China are great. And some of them, let me just say it clear, they're shit. Okay? This doesn't fit that category. It just means that there were steps missing. People didn't do any, you know, look over things. You know, there's just certain issues that are going on. Faulty switches. I mean, I don't know. You know, here's the thing. When you test something, you should test it, right? It should go through at least an hour's worth of testing, under load and without load, to make sure that all the mechanical properties are actually to spec and working properly. So that way, when the customer receives it, it has its stamp of approval that it's actually working properly. I don't believe in my heart that that's what was happening with this machine. Now, Mechmaxx don't know about that. All they do is have a warranty or a guarantee from wherever the main distributor or manufacturer of their machines, right, gives them. Not everybody talks about these things, and I think it's important to address it. So, at this point, you know, I'm disappointed, but I have to trust that Mechmaxx will get back with me, right? They'll get back with me. I'll get a new motor replacement, okay? Hopefully I get a new motor replacement, clutch assembly, right? and a new blade replacement. That's simple. I'll do the work. It'll save them a lot of money from having to pay somebody around here probably $1,000 to $1,500 to have it fixed. At that point, you might as well just send me a whole new unit. Right? Instead, I want to try to save them a little bit of money. Right? They can send me a new motor, like I said. Send me a new blade and send me a new clutch assembly. Simple as that. And until then, you know, if they don't want to do that, then just reimburse me and I'll put a new motor on it, which I have one. I'm ready to, I have one in my shop, brand new. 2 of them ready to go. Not just that. I got a 420 on that go-kart back there. I have a brand new 420 right here that I just put on my race car. So it's not like, this is something that I don't know about. Okay? It's not something that I don't use. It's not something that I don't fix. It's not something that I can't modify. But I do want you guys to understand these things. Okay? Another thing, it doesn't bother me any, but it might bother somebody. The way that you adjust this water system for cooling your blade sucks. Alright? Let me just say it. Why? Because you got to always reach up here. You got to set it. Then you got to put this little thing up here. And then what happens is, because this is a machine that vibrates a lot, right? Next thing you know, this thing is doing whatever it's doing. The lock washer backs off. This goes crazy. You got too much water. Then you get a buildup in there. And you get a buildup over there. And then what happens is the belt gets too wet. It starts slipping, right? And then what can happen is you'll see that the blade isn't moving. Or you'll get the blade caught in the middle of the log, right? So you got to be conscientious of, what your water is, that you're not burning the crap out of your blade, and that you're running your blade at the right place. Now, you see that line right there? See that line right there? Right there, right on the edge. See where them teeth are? That's where it should be sticking. And that's how you can tell it was ran right. Just like that. Let me show you. That's how the blade should be on both sides, which it is. Okay? It takes time to align it. There's directions on this that are really clear. And you got to work it a little bit at a time. Because when you adjust one side, you may have to come over to the other side and adjust the other side. The directions are here, but the explanation of it is in your owner's manual. Okay? But like I said, when it was working fine. But you got to go over everything. You got to go over every nut and bolt, crick and cranny. All right? This is not for somebody who doesn't have some kind of mechanical understanding of equipment. Any kind of equipment. Okay? I just want you guys to be aware of that, I like bringing honesty to the channel and understanding to the channel when I am doing a video on a piece of equipment. It's a must for me. I grew up in a family that, how do I want to say this? A perfectionist, right? I'm not a perfectionist myself, but I try to do things the right way. But I was taught by people who always taught me the right way. Don't do things the wrong way. Do it the right way. And the outcome will make you happy. So, in the end, I've already contacted them. I told them I'd be posting this video within 2 hours. So their technician can see my video. And understand what the issues are at hand. Look, I don't generally do bad reviews. And I wouldn't call this a bad review at all. What I would call this is inefficiencies from manufacturers that are building their equipment. Clutch assembly, I absolutely think there's something wrong with that clutch assembly. Motor, Look, it's pretty obvious the motor wasn't designed right or put together right, because you can see that right here, okay? Look at that. And I'm sure this is not the first time. Look at that. You can see it right there. Look at that. Look at the top of that. And then jump off and hit my blade. I mean, come on. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure out something's pretty crappy going on, right? So, you know, this is where I'm at. This is what's happening. Am I a little pissed? Well, you know, who wouldn't be, right? You spend, you know, a few $1,000s on a machine, it's going to upset you when it ain't working right, right? So, anyway, this is the video for Mechmaxx technician. And like I said, go easy on them, guys. Look, I get it, you know. I get it. You have people make stuff, and sometimes you get a machine that'll last, you know, 5 years and it be flawless and not have any issues. And then, unfortunately, it comes to a person like me who has all of these skills to fix this type of stuff. But it just, I was hoping for more, right? I think in the end, that's really what it was. I was hoping for more. I was hoping for a little better of a quality. And I'm sure that Mechmaxx was too. So, anyways, that's the end of this video. I got a bunch of other videos, but I'm not going to upload them until later on. I want to get this thing running right. I want to get this thing squared away and fix all the little technical problems. And then we'll do another full review of the Mechmaxx 22-inch Sawmill. Alright, guys, take care. God bless. This is Pastor Bob, and I'm out of here. See ya.